Good evening and welcome back. Now, in this session, we are now going to work on the edit mode. See, in our previous session, right now we are seeing our default cube over here. We used to transform this cube. You already know, we will press G and move it. I will right click to cancel it. We will press R and rotate it, right click to cancel it. Yes and scale it, right click to cancel it. So, these operations were done on an object. So, this entire object, say for example, if you come to the outliner, you can see in the outliner cube is a container of this object. And if you open this arrow, you have another cube here, and this we call it as the object data. Object data is nothing but the values which are represented here. For example, this cube has 8 vertices, 6 faces. You can see it here. So, this data what is shown here, this data is always going to be represented in this object data. Now, for example, if I take this cube and then I will press X and along the X I scale it, how much ever I scale it, whatever transformation I do to this cube, this value of 8, 6 and 12 edges will never change. However, now when we enter into edit mode, say for example here I will press Alt S to cancel the scale. So, now whatever scale we had created, see the scale has been cleared and it is back to, if you open the transform window, 1 1 1. Okay. Now, from the object mode, when I change to edit mode, you can change from object mode to edit mode either by clicking here in this menu, or else the keyboard shortcut is tab. When I press tab, see it changes to edit mode. Again press tab, it changes to object mode. Also, if you press Ctrl plus tab, you will get all these modes again, and I can choose edit mode. So, these are the options using which I can come to the edit mode, and when I come to edit mode, I have 3 selection options here on the top. The first is the vertex selection mode, the second is the edge selection mode, and the third is the face selection mode. The keyboard shortcut for this is number 1 on your keyboard. So, if I press number 1 on my keyboard, it will select the vertex selection. See, I will press 2 now, it is edge selection, and 3 is face selection. So, when I am working, I can use number 1, 2, 3 on your keyboard to switch between these selection. Now, I will press 1 and come to the edge selection. So, now I can select any of this edge and I can now press G and move it. See, it moves. I can move this edge. I will right click to cancel it. Scale and rotate, there is no effect on this because this is a single vertex. So, the only effective transform on a vertex is only G, that is the move. If I press shift and select 2 vertices now, when 2 vertices are selected, 2 adjacent vertices are selected, the effective selection is actually an edge. Now, if I press G and move it, you can see both these moves. This is nothing but, I will right click and cancel it. If I come to edge selection mode and select this edge and move it, this is the same effect. Okay. Now, the third selection mode is face selection, where I can select any of the faces here, and if I press G, it moves. Say, I can move it. If I press S, I can scale it. See, if I press R, I can rotate it. So, all the 3 transformation can be applied to a face. I will right click and cancel it, and it can also be applied to an edge. I will select the edge. If I press G, I can move it. If I press R, I can see, I can rotate it. If I press scale, I can scale it. So, this is how we work in edit mode. However, the best feature in edit mode is actually the additional tools that we get over here. See, you have a bunch of tools available to you only in edit mode. When I am in object mode, see, when I click object mode, you have only this move, selection, rotate and measure. So, these are the only few tools available. But when I enter the edit mode, you have additional tools available here. And this tool, the very first tool that we use here is the extrude tool. So, now say for example, I will come to this vertex selection mode. I select a vertex here. Right now, see, this has only 8 vertex and 1 is selected. Now, if I press E and if I drag it, E is the keyboard shortcut for extrude. So, when I press E, you can see a new vertex is created. See, now you have 9 vertices. Or I can also use this extrude over here. If I select extrude here, see, now you have the extrude applied on this, and if I drag it, see, I got one more vertices here. So, now you have 10 vertices. So, similar to this, now what I will do is I will come back to the selection tool. With shift pressed, I select both these vertices, press X and I will delete it. Similarly, if I come to edge selection and if I select an edge, now if I press E or if I use the extrude tool, I can extrude it like this. See, I can extrude it. Now, if I press E again, I can do one more extrude. If I press E again, even here when I am moving, I can control the axis. Say I press Z now, this will move only along the Z axis. Okay. I will leave the mouse. I will again press E and this time I will press Y. This will move only along the Y axis. See. And if I press again E, extrude, and if I press Z, this will move only along the Z axis. So, this way you can create additional geometries and you can manipulate your object. Right now, all these manipulation are stored in your object data over here inside this cube. Now, also you can now see this has 18 vertices, 27 edges and 11 faces. So, you can see these numbers changing as you manipulate it. So, this is the purpose of the edit mode. And some of the most commonly used feature to add vertices, edges and faces is the first is the extrude tool. I will come to this edge selection mode and I will come back to return to the selection mode and I will select all these edges I created. I will press X and click delete edges. There are 2 vertices now left over here. I will come to vertex selection mode and select these 2 vertices, press X and delete vertices. So, now I have come back to my cube and now what I will do is you can just have a look at the various extrude modes available here. Say similarly, if I select a face, I select the face and if I drag it like this, see, it is going to extrude a new face. Now, I will again extrude one more face. Now, what I will do is I will come back to selection mode and I will select 2 faces which are adjacent like this. And now, let us see what happens when I click extrude. When I click extrude and when I drag it, see, both are moving along the common normal here. I will come to what is normal in the next session, but right now both are moving in this direction. Okay. I will press Ctrl Z twice to undo this. Now, in this extrude, you have an option here, extrude along normals. And when I use extrude along normals and if I drag it, you can see it is getting extruded. You can see the surfaces now. These edges are straight. So, previously I will press Ctrl Z, and if you come to extrude region, you can see how this shape behaves. I will press Ctrl Z, and in extrude normals, see how the extrusion happens. I will press Ctrl Z again, and now you have one more option, extrude individual. So, when I select extrude individual and if I drag it, see it extrudes in this way. So, these are the three main options that we commonly use when we are doing extrusions. Apart from this, say I will come to edit mode and I will select an edge here, and after selecting the edge, there is one more option here, extrude to cursor. This we won't use it regularly, or I will press 3 and come to side view. Now, what happens is wherever I am going to click, I will middle mouse click and turn it to show it to you. Wherever I bring the cursor and if I click it, see wherever I am clicking, I will come back to one front view, and if I keep on clicking it, see what happens, this gets extruded in any shape. This is the extrude to cursor option. This is the job of this extrude to cursor option. So, in this session, we learned the basics about the edit mode, and also we explored the various options of extrude. Now, when you are doing an extrude, the keyboard shortcut, I will select the face selection tool, back to the selection tool now, and I will press E, select a face, and now if I press E, it is the keyboard shortcut for extrude. However, if I press Alt plus E, you get all the options available here as a context menu here. If I press Alt E, you can either extrude as individual faces or extrude along normals, extrude repeat. If I click extrude repeat, whatever extrude happened last time, it will be repeated. So, these are the various kind of facilities available in the edit mode. Let us work or explore the other tools in our next session. Thank you.